Number 1. School D gives priority to math, science, and English with more time allotted for each of time. What philosophy of education is School D associated with? The correct answer is letter C. Essentialism. Number 2. The whole child concept of education is consistent to the blank. A. Academic essentials approach to education. B. Progressivist approach to education. C. Focus on the disadvantaged approach to education. And D. The mental discipline approach to education. The correct answer is letter B. Progressivist approach to education. Number 3. Which of the following best describes a progressivist's method of teaching? A. Lecture forum. B. Reading books. C. Cooperative learning. And D. Drills. The correct answer is letter C. Cooperative learning. Number 4. A guest in one graduation rites told his or her audience, "Remember, you are what you choose to be." The speaker is more of a or an blank. A. Idealist. B. Existentialist. C. Realist. Or D. Pragmatist. The correct answer is letter B. Existentialist. Number 5. The great happiness lies in the contemplative use of mind, said Plato. Therefore, let us give more opportunities for our students to do blank. A. Social interaction. B. Role playing. C. Cooperative learning. And D. Introspection. The correct answer is letter D. Introspection. Number 6. Teacher L says, "If it is billiards that brings students out of the classroom, let us bring it into the classroom. Perhaps I can use it to teach math." To which philosophy does Teacher L adhere? A. Reconstructionism. B. Essentialism. C. Existentialism. Or D. Progressivism. The correct answer is letter D. Progressivism. Number 7. Class schedule, list of competencies to master, and uniform requirements belong to a school governed by the educational philosophy of blank. A. Progressivism. B. Perennialism. C. Essentialism. And D. Existentialism. The correct answer is letter C. Essentialism. Number 8. Specialization is known for more and more but less and less. Hence, it is better to be a generalist, claims Teacher J. Which philosophy does Teacher J subscribe to? A. Idealism. B. Essentialism. C. Perennialism. And D. Realism. The correct answer is letter A. Idealism. Number 9. School B's curriculum puts emphasis on the classics. School B's curriculum is predominantly blank. A. Perennialist. B. Progressivist. C. Reconstructionalist. And D. Essentialist. The correct answer is letter A. Perennialist. Number 10. Which of the following is attributed to Plato? A. Truth is relative to a particular time and place. B. Human beings create their own truth. C. Learning is the discovery of truth as latent ideas that are brought to the consciousness. And D. Sense perception is the most accurate guide to knowledge. The correct answer is letter C. Learning is the discovery of truth as latent ideas that are brought to consciousness. As a science teacher in elementary school, which is your guiding principle? A. Truth is relative to a particular time and place. B. Human beings create their own truth. C. Learning is the discovery of truth as latent ideas that are brought to consciousness. And D. Sense perception is the most accurate guide to knowledge. The correct answer is letter D. Sense perception is the most accurate guide to knowledge. Number 12. As a teacher, you are a reconstructionalist. Which is your guiding principle? I must teach the child blank. A. Every knowledge, skills, and values that he or she needs for a better future. B. To develop his or her mental powers. C. In accordance to his or her interests and abilities. And D. To be aware of the social problems and be an agent of change. The correct answer is letter D. To be aware of the social problems and be an agent of change. Number 13. Which educational theory does Back to the Basics movement spring from? A. Essentialism. B. Realism. C. Progressivism. And D. Naturalism. The correct answer is letter A. Essentialism. Number 14. The values clarification as a strategy in values education flows from which philosophy of education? A. Progressivism. B. Reconstructionalism. C. Existentialism. And D. Essentialism. The correct answer is letter B. Reconstructionalism. Number 15. The practice non-graded instruction stems from blank. A. Idealism. B. Progressivism. C. Realism. And D. Naturalism. The correct answer is letter B. Progressivism. Number 16. Parents enroll their kids to home-based schooling to make them free from stresses and pressures. This homeschooling is anchored on blank. A. Progressivism. B. Existentialism. C. Naturalism. Or D. Idealism. The correct answer is letter C. Naturalism. Number 17. Which philosophy approves of a teacher who lectures most of the time and requires his or her students to memorize rules of grammar? A. Existentialism. B. Realism. C. Essentialism. And D. Idealism. The correct answer is letter D. Idealism. Number 18. The singing of the Philippine national anthem in school is an offshoot of the philosophy of blank. A. Pragmatism. B. Naturalism. C. Nationalism. Or D. Socialism. The correct answer is letter C. Nationalism. 19. Teacher M tells his or her colleagues that the best way students learn is to give a lot of drills and exercises. To what philosophy of education is Teacher M inclined? A. Realism. B. Essentialism. C. Idealism. Or D. Existentialism. The correct answer is letter A. Realism. 20. The current emphasis on the development of critical thinking by the use of philosophic methods that emphasize debate and discussion began with blank. A. Aristotle. B. Socrates. C. Confucius. And D. Plato. The correct answer is letter B. Socrates. Number 21. The following are part of Sternberg's theory of development except A. Practical intelligence. B. Spatial intelligence. C. Analytical intelligence. Or D. Creative intelligence. The correct answer is letter B. Spatial intelligence. Number 22. Tim possesses excellent skills in creating artworks and would invent toys from recycled materials. Using Sternberg's theory, what is this intelligence called? A. Analytical intelligence. B. Creative intelligence. C. Practical intelligence. And D. Spatial intelligence. The correct answer is letter C. Creative intelligence. Number 23. Such psychological characteristics as the helplessness of nursery kids, the inborn curiosity of the primary school pupils, the social consciousness of high school students, and the practical purpose of college students establish that A. The individual has certain characteristics of each level of development that makes him educable. B. Education is a basic need of the individual at every level of development. C. Education is a psychological based. Or D. Education is adjustment and adaptation. The correct answer is letter A. The individual has certain characteristics of each level of development that makes him educable. 24. Ms. de Guzman is a firm believer of a rosy theory that education should be according to nature. To be in accord with nature, which of the following will Ms. de Guzman do? A. Treat the child as little adults. B. Treat the child as noble savage. C. Treat the child as though he was little adult. D. Treat the child according to the laws of growth and development. The correct answer is letter D. Treat the child according to the laws of growth and development. Number 25. John Dewey regarded education as a continuous process of experiencing and recognizing experience. Which statement explains best his ideas? A. Education takes place in school. B. Education goes on throughout life. C. Education continues anywhere, anytime. D. Education takes place formally with a teacher. The correct answer is letter B. Education goes on throughout life. 26. The establishment of special classes for the deaf, mute, and the blind in various schools in the systems is in consonance with education as A. Formal discipline. B. The study of humanities. C. Social reconstruction. And D. Scientifically determined process. The correct answer is letter C. Social reconstruction. Number 27. Socrates, idealism, blank, pragmatism. A. Plato. B. Dewey. C. Confucius. And D. Locke. The correct answer is letter B. Dewey. Number 28. In the class of Mrs. Risa, some children are usually more active than others. As in other class, extremely high levels of activity or hyperactivity are sometimes considered problematic. How may she help a child who is hyperactive? Challenging activities that are appropriate to his ability level and interests. B. Allow him to spend longer time at the playground until he gets tired. C. Make him the leader of the class. Or D. Transfer him to another class. The correct answer is letter A. Give him challenging activities that are appropriate to his ability level and interests. 29. In providing for the needs of her children, who among the following pupils will Mrs. Abbott most likely overlook? A. Jerome, a slow learner. B. Shaina, a frequent absentee. C. Stephanie, a timid, quiet girl. Or D. Janelle, an improvised child. The correct answer is D. Janelle, an improvised child. 30. In her art class, Miss De Leon allows her students to draw and paint using varied media. She invites every student to present their finished composition and talk about them. Which principle of method is illustrated by the teacher's action? A. Method liberates the learners. B. Method stimulates thinking and reasoning. C. Method provides for individual differences. Or D. Method provides for growth and development. The correct answer is C. Method provides for individual differences. 31. Mix Zulieta upholds that the needs and interests of the learner should be the basis of his educational program. Which is more likely to be strongly reflected in Ms. Zulieta's plan? A. Objectives that are focused on social judgment. B. Objectives that are activity-centered. C. Objectives that are social nutrition. Or D. Objectives that are child-centered. The correct answer is letter D. Objectives that are child-centered. 32. Mrs. Lacson is excited about trying out cooperative learning. Which should be her primary consideration? A. At least 10 members in a group. B. Homogeneously grouped. C. Interdependence of students in performing learning should be stressed. Or D. Permanent roles for everyone in the group activity. The correct answer is letter C. Interdependence of students in performing learning should be stressed. Number 33. Pauline, in spite of her IQ, has been getting low grades and performing poorly in almost all the academic subjects. Her father went to her teacher. What is the best way to manage the situation? A. Tell Pauline's father a solution by which she can be helped to improve her performance. B. Tell Pauline's father that he should not complain because you compare her grades objectively. C. Direct Pauline's father to complain to the principal. Or D. Advise Pauline's father to get a tutor for her. The correct answer is A. Tell Pauline's father a solution by which she can be helped to improve her performance. Number 34. Why should guidance be an integral part of the school program? A. Learners are confronted with present-day realities and challenges which they themselves cannot handle. B. Learners need to be guided so that they become useful members of the society. C. Learners need help in their personal and academic problems. Or D. Learners are still young to be left to themselves. The correct answer is letter B. Learners need to be guided so that they may become useful members of the society. Ms. Revilla, a classroom teacher, is aware that she is also expected to perform guidance function. She has been helping her pupils in their personal and academic problems. What must do if there are cases which she finds difficulty to handle? A. Refer them to the guidance counselor who has the professional competence to handle such cases. B. Try to solve them. There are practical solutions to every problem. C. Bring them to the attention of the school principal. Or D. Make referrals to the outside agencies. The correct answer is letter A. Refer them to the guidance counselor who has the professional competence to handle such cases. 36. For quite some time, Joseph, a grade 6 pupil, has been displaying unusual behaviors which have adversely affected his performance. How may Miss Ramos, his teacher, best given the necessary help? A. Seek the advice of the child's psychologist. B. Refer the pupil to a psychiatrist. C. Arrange for a case conference. Or D. Conduct a case study. The correct answer is letter A. Seek the advice of child's psychologist. Number 37. What is the focus of the developmental guidance? A. Developing the varied interests, abilities, and needs of students individually and collectively. B. Providing students with ample opportunities to develop their innate talents. C. Identify students with personality and behavior problems. Or D. Facilitating the total development of the students. The correct answer is A. Developing the varied interests, abilities, and needs of students individually and collectively. Because learning increases directly in proportion to the extent to which the learner is fully bound up in his task, the teacher should give lessons that blank. A. Are fictitious to appeal their imagination. B. Have significance and worth to the child. C. Are easy to comprehend. Or D. Portray complex ideas. The correct answer is letter B. Have significance and worth to the child. Number 39. The debate encourages the teachers to use the process of blank in order to help speed up the development of the right kind of values among pupils and students. A. Value teaching. B. Catholic religion. C. Ethics. And D. Assimilation. The correct answer is A. Value teaching. For what main reasons are schools change agents advised to offer courses that industries need? A. Environmental. B. Political. C. Historical. And D. Economic. The correct answer is letter D. Economic.